This is a clean glean of vector-valued functions. Here's a definition. Our notation, rvec, that's in bold type, is now dependent on a parameter t. This vector has components, a scalar function on ivec, a scalar function on jvec. This would then be a 2vec, or the vector-valued function may be a 3vec. A scalar-valued function f, scaling ivec, a scalar value function g, scaling jvec, and a scalar-valued function h, scaling kvec. Nice. Each of these scalar-valued functions, f, g, h, are component functions. They are scalar-valued, in other words, real-valued functions, and they play a role of providing the components of a vector. This function rvec of t takes inputs t and produces as outputs vectors. Hence, it is a vector-valued function. Nice. Let's look at an example. This is from OpenStax, Calculus, Volume 3. We have three different vector-valued functions. The first two result in plane curves as they are 2vecs. And then the third vector-valued function has a third component function. In other words, it is sketched in all of 3 space. Let's take a look at the first two simultaneously. So here we are in Desmos. We have an ellipse sketched out. In the x-axis, you can move as far as 4 away from the origin. In the y direction, you can move as far as 3 from the origin. We have 2 dots being sketched, one in blue, one in black. We hit play and we watch the dots move. I've paused the video here. And what's going on is that the t value is getting close to 0. It was decreasing down to 0. It's now going to hit 0, bounce back, and then start making its way over to 2 pi. As we're watching, we could see that the blue dot was moving fast and quickly. The black dot is catching up. Why is this? That's because here at t is nearing a value of 1. And when you take t and you cube it, for values bigger than 1, t cubed will be bigger than t to the first. So we can see the effect that both the blue and the black dots still traverse the ellipse. But as the cubic has inputs which are increasing very fast, the corresponding black dot rotates very fast. All right, so those were 2 planar curves. Another example is a space curve. This is a space curve because it is a 3vec. You sketch it in 3 dimensions. This picture is from GeoGebra. And off to the left, we have the k, defined as a scalar. This is just a number. And I'm using that number to scale the z component, the parameter t. Currently, k is set to 0.4. Otherwise, it's exactly as it appears in the book. I've just added this k. Then we have the capital T that's going to allow us to watch a point, capital A, move on the curve. Here is that point, capital A. All right, let's watch the video. Change the perspective. A is moving along since capital T is changing. Change the scalar k to affect the length of the helix that looks like a spring. When it was sketched below the xy plane, it was negative k. Here, taking a perspective directly from above, it looked like the point was just traversing a circle. And that's when you project the helix into the xy plane. Nice. That is a space curve. Okay. Two other topics are covered in 3.1, limits and continuity. Here is a definition of taking a limit of a vector valued function. Well, if you're taking a limit of this object, what is the object? It's vectors. And then you're asking for the inputs to go to some fixed point. Well, if you're taking limits of vectors, you should get a vector. Remember that a vector has two things. It has a direction and it has a magnitude. Well, physically, it really doesn't sit in any location. Maybe a better way to think about it is that the difference between the two vectors produces a vector which in size goes to 0. So this is the precise, rigorous definition of taking a limit. However, in practice, we have that the limit of a vector valued function, well, if you have a vector valued function given by components f and g, that the limit of that vector valued function is simply the sum of the limits of its components. And that is something rather nice, that vector valued functions inherit properties from their component functions. To take a look at that, let's go on to continuity. Here's the definition of continuity. It should look very familiar from first semester calculus. We have a vector valued function. We want to say that it's continuous at a point. Let the point be A. Well, continuity of the vector valued function will require that the function is defined at that point A. Second, that as we take the limit of that vector valued function near the point and then at the point, that we get a value, that the limit exists. And then third, that these two quantities agree. This is exactly the definition that you would have had in first semester calculus. Let space curve C be given by this vector valued function. State the domain. You should look at the domain of each component function and then take the intersection of those domains. Second, compute the limit of this vector valued function at the point 12. Next, having considered the limit, does the function have continuity at 12? And then third, state the set of points where the function is continuous. Nice. This was a clean glean on vector valued functions.